So you probably look at this and you're wondering, what is this? What are you here to talk about? Well, this here is called Kemono or Kemono party, if you will, Kemono.party. And what this is basically, and it describes it here, it's kind of an archiver and an accessor to paywalled posts of creators. And of course, a lot of these paywall creators, and rightfully so, were not too thrilled with this. But here's the situation, and look, I'm not disagreeing that they shouldn't be upset about, about Kemono here, leaking or allowing people to upload this stuff. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be upset about that. They have a right to. But here's the situation. I believe, and I don't know all the details, but in my opinion, Kemono is no different than some other websites out there. Other websites like I don't know if I can say the word, but it's basically anime porn. We'll put it that way. That's all I'm gonna say. But it's and the other word starts with an H and an E. I'll put it this way: E-H-E-T A-T-I. You get the idea. You get what I'm talking about. And then there's another website. Basically, it's called My Comics, but it's My Blank Comics, and again, it's the same word that starts with H in E-T-I-A. You get the idea. But it's no different from those comics. Or not comics, but it's no different from those websites. And the reason being is because these kind of websites, like Kemono, are created because they know there are people that may not have the money to access some of these artworks, if you will. They know that. And like I said, I'm not disagreeing in saying that people don't have a right to, call out places like Kemono for what they're doing. I think they have all the rights, in the world. If they feel that, hey, if you're going to, look at our stuff that we put a lot of work into, then you should basically go over to our Patreon, go over to our fan box, our Discord, our Bootsy, our Gumroad, whatever, our Subscribestar. You should go over there and contribute money there, either by purchasing or subscribing. That's how you should gain access. You should do it the right way. And I don't agree. Hold on. Let me get something to drink here. Sorry about that. But like I was saying, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with people feeling that, if you're going to get access to what they create, then instead of going to these websites that I mentioned, like Kemono, that instead you should go directly to the source, to Subscribestar, to Gumroad, to Patreon, you name it, and either individually purchase or subscribe to gain, access rightfully to the content. I don't disagree with that belief. Because I believe, honestly, I would do the same thing. I would. If I had the talent that some of these people have. But here's where, and I know it's kind of controversial, but it's just my take, my opinion, my take. But here's where I feel there's a bit of a double, hold on for a sec. Sorry about that, I got a bit of a bot caller again, scam caller. But anyway, like I said, I don't disagree with, how they feel. Like, you should go and do it the right way. Go to the source and either individually purchase or subscribe, to the content creator of the material. I don't disagree with that because as I was mentioning before the phone call got me interrupted, I don't disagree with that because if I had the talent that these people have, I probably feel the same way. I'd be like, hey, you want to look at my content? You got to come over to the site where it's going to be looked at correctly, and where basically you're either monthly spending money to, gain access to it, or you're spending money basically to buy it individually. I'm not disagreeing with their belief. But as I was saying before the phone rang, and again, this is just my opinion. Just my opinion, but I look at it this way, that if you're buying something individually, or you're even subscribed to something, as well, that allows you access to download something, because, you're doing a monthly subscription. And I know I've talked about this somewhat before. But if you are purchasing something individually, or you're getting something by access, if you will, or you're getting access, or you're getting something in return because of your subscription, I'm trying to find the right words to say here, then you should have all the right to do what you want with it, right? For example, when the Disney Movie Club was around, you look at that, and, if you had a subscription to them, I think for a few bucks, I don't know what the limit is, maybe you guys can correct me out there, but for a certain amount of dollars, along with your subscription, you can gain access to exclusive DVDs and Blu-rays and maybe even 4K releases through the Disney Movie Club. Not retail, but through the Disney Movie Club. Now, because of that subscription, not only would you gain access to that, but you would have it sent to your house, right? So once you gain access to that, Blu-ray or that DVD that you've gotten just for maybe a few dollars more because of your subscription, guess what? You own that movie now, right? You own that Blu-ray. You own that 4K. You own that DVD. You don't have to return it. Even if you cancel your subscription, you don't have to return it because it's now yours. Because technically, in a way, because of your subscription, annual, yearly or monthly, you've purchased that as your own. You've purchased that as your own. So what happens? Well, you can do whatever you want with it. If you decide, okay, I'm going to, keep this copy and then I'm going to buy the retail copy, you could decide, you know what? I'm going to sell my Disney Movie Club copy, for maybe $10, $12 on eBay. You have the right to do that. You have the right to do that because through that subscription you did with Disney Movie Club, yearly or monthly, you technically for a few bucks, maybe shipping and handling or whatever, you bought that movie. You bought that Blu-ray. You bought that 4K. So that's basically yours, for because of your subscription. It's the same with the old Columbia House. Columbia House used to sell all these audio cassettes, music cassettes, CDs, and all that for 1 cent, maybe to $1, right? Getting some root beer there, drinking some root beer there. And the same with movies. They do the same thing with VHSs and DVDs. They would have this Columbia House subscription where you could purchase a huge amount of DVDs. Not DVDs, but CDs. A huge amount of VHSs for 1 cent to $5. And that's all you had to do. And once you did that, you'd get that back. You'd get, basically those DVDs. Oh, not DVD. Well, yeah, DVDs to an extent, but mostly VHSs and CDs. You'd get what you chose, mailed out to you. Now, here's what's interesting. Because I've been here. I've been there, I should say. Here's what's interesting. You go out and you do that. I'm trying to think about the right words to say here. I do apologize for any spacing. I'm trying to think about what I'm going to say next. I'm also trying to do this before another phone call happens, and that's from my mom because she likes to check up on things. Go figure. But anyway, I've been there before. And I can tell you from experience that, just because you do that doesn't mean you have to continue doing it. Okay? Like, you put in 1 cent, and that's basically the first cent towards, let's say, a monthly bill. But let's say you can't pay that monthly bill. What happens? they cancel your service, right? And you know why they cancel your service? Because you couldn't pay. But guess what? All those CDs, all those cassettes, all those VHSs, and to an extent DVDs that you got for 1 cent to maybe $5, guess what? You keep them. That's right, you keep them. You can keep those CDs, you can keep those cassettes, you can keep those VHSs that you sent away for 1 cent to $5 at most. You keep them. They're yours. You can do whatever you want with them. They can't say anything. You know, even if your service is canceled, they can't say anything because technically, because of that one-time offer of 1 cent or $5 or whatever, you now own basically CDs, VHSs, DVDs, if you will, vinyls, whatever, that together could cost about, let's say, $50, depending on how many you got. They could cost around $50, $80, and you got them all for 1 cent to $5. And there's nothing they can do about that because you now own them. They're yours. Even if they cancel the service. And the reason I bring this up, the reason I use these as examples, this and the Disney Movie Club, is mainly because of the fact that if you're someone on Patreon or Subscribestar, you know, those kind of sites, and you allow people to have access to your art, to your creations, to what you've created on there, whether it's for all ages or it's NFSW for adults only, I should say. You know, you allow people to have access because of subscription. Guess what? If you gave them access, and part of that access is, oh, here's a downloadable link to download it to your computer to look at and watch whenever you want, then guess what? They're technically buying that from you. And they're buying it through the subscription. And by technically buying it through the subscription to you, as crazy as this sounds, and as much as people, you know, don't want to hear it, and look, they, like I mentioned earlier, they have a right to be upset when people do it. The people that are given that right by you, the person that puts up that subscription service, that subscription offer, you know, allowing access to all that content creation of yours, and you give them a downloadable link, and they download it to their computer, then they have all the right. Because, again, like I said, they technically bought it. You know, because of that subscription, they have all the right. As much as people don't like to hear this, they have all the right to do what they want. They have all the right to do what they want with that. They do. It's like if I decided, okay, I'm going to put one of my fan vids, you know, with, you know, screenshots from the Archie Sonic comic, up for sale. As much as I hate to admit it, whoever bought that, and I gave them a download link to download it, guess what? They can do whatever they want with it. And I know some people, when I first talked about this months ago, tried to show me exactly that. Oh, see, I can do whatever I want with it. Okay, understandable. That's understandable. I get it. But that's the unfortunateness. That's the unfortunateness when you do these kind of services. Whether it's Patreon, Subscribestar, or whatever. If you give them access to download content because they're subscribed for a certain amount a month or a year, you're giving them access to all this stuff. You know, animations, you know, PDF, webcomics, whatever. You give them that access to download it, they can do whatever they want with it because technically they bought it. Even if they cancel their subscription to you on Patreon or Subscribestar, they now own what they purchased, what they downloaded off there through the previous subscription. They now own it. They can do whatever they want with it. It's like they say, possession is not. It's like what's that old saying? What's that old saying? It's 90% possession is the law or something like that. That's technically what it is. It's technically what it is. And like I said, I understand how people feel, how content creators feel, especially what this person said, you know, down here, where they said they decided to check their username on Kemono party, they decided to check the username on Kemono Party and found out that someone had been leaking all this stuff up until the end of whatever month they posted this, or whatever month they posted this, or whatever previous month of the month they posted this is what I'm trying to say. And here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Even though they have a right to bring that up because they feel like, hey, you're giving everybody else that has not yet subscribed to me, who has not individually paid for this stuff, you're giving them free access, to gain it, to get, to have it themselves. Here's the issue, though. Whoever leaked that stuff, unfortunately, and this is the unfortunate news, technically, they had a right to do that. Technically. Hear me out. I'm not saying they had full right, but because of that loophole technicality, and the fact that they may have been a subscriber to that person's account on Patreon or Subscribestar, or they went to Gumroad when Gumroad would allow people to do it. Basically, they were given, the opportunity, maybe even purchasing with their own money through places like Gumroad, the opportunity to download and now have ownership of a copy in their possession to do whatever they want with. And that's the unfortunate fact. That's the unfortunate fact. And look, I justifiably understand that if you want people to truly support your work, and they should go to the source. They should go straight to the source. But that's the one thing you got to look at now. That's the one thing you got to look at. You can go out and tell people, please, do not post this anywhere else. And people will respect that. They will. But then again, they might wait. They might say, you know what? I want to keep my word. I want to keep that promise and everything. But it's been about 6 months. It's been about a year or two. I think it's cool now to post it elsewhere. And they could. They would have the right. Because they've had it in possession for so long. The artist has put out, or the content creator has put out more content. They have a right to basically say, okay, I've waited long enough. I'm going to do what I want with it. And they can. Because now the content creator is focusing more on the newer content they're doing, or they've done in the past, 2 years since you've purchased that one piece of content from them, or that one piece of work from them, that honestly they may or may not mind. It's just one of those, like I said, it's just one of those controversial, unfortunate situations to where if you give people access to download content that you've created because of their annual or yearly subscriptions to you on a place like Subscribestar or Patreon or whatever, you're giving them that access, then in a technical standpoint, as controversial as it sounds, they have all the right to do what they want with it. They have all the right. And look, I'll tell you right now, I'd be upset too. I would be. But I'd also be realizing, hey, I gave that person, I gave that person access to do this because, they subscribed to me or, on a yearly or monthly basis. So I technically gave them the okay. As much as I hate to admit that. I technically gave them the okay. It's just one of those things that I think what content creators need to do, honestly, when it comes to places like Patreon and Gumroad and Discord and Subscribestar and all that, I think what they need to do is basically put a time limit. They do. They need to take a page out of, let's say, the content creators here on places like YouTube and Rumble and all that. And that is, and that is basically tell the subscribers, the yearly, monthly subscribers, that people that basically you need to tell what they need to do. And I'm trying to find the right words to say here. what they need to do is basically say that publicly we're going to upload this content free to the public after, let's say, a 3-month hold up in Patreon. That's it. Or a 3-month hold up in Subscribestar or Discord. After 3 months, well, only members, only subscribers, can have access to it. Then we'll put it out free to the public, and we'll put it up for sale at a place like Gumroad or wherever. That way, people, in my opinion, will not be too tempted. The other way, too, that people can prevent access, like that from ever happening is to raise the prices on the Patreon. That's what they need to do. Once they raise the prices, that's when people will be like, okay, maybe that's a little too much for us to even handle on a monthly, if not yearly basis. And by raising the prices on Patreon and places like Subscribestar and elsewhere, that will be a discouragement to them, especially in today's economic world. And they'll be like, okay, we'll back off. We'll just wait. So that's my advice. My advice basically, is to, tell the public, hey, in 3 to 4 months, you'll have free access to this, and you can do whatever you want with it. But until then, it's going to be Patreon and Subscribestar exclusive only, and the only way you're going to get access to it is by paying this much of a monthly or yearly fee, and that's it. And what that could be something that, again, makes them do a double take and be like, okay, maybe maybe supporting this person to gain access to this so we can post it wherever we want. Yeah, maybe this is not a good financial idea for right now. And that, chewing some ice. And that could be what has to be done. Because the more people do that, they take that kind of, those kind of directions to where they say, hey, after 3 to 4 months, public access is, all a go. It's all a go for it kind of deal. And Gumroad purchases or purchases at places like Gumroad, are up and available to be made. I think everything will be in the clear. And I think during that time, what you do is you raise the prices. You just say, look, if you want access to this animation or this comic, Patreon, for, let's say, for the access a month, let's say you have it at $5 or $3, raise it up to 15 or 20. And, and by doing that, they'll be like, okay, that's not good. And if you want to go yearly, let's say yearly is like $50, raise it up to 100, 125. And again, you do that, and it detracts people. It detracts them from basically wanting to support you in that manner and go for the more cheaper support to where it's like, okay, we'll get a WIP in progress, if you will, and that's it. Or maybe we might get a little sneak here, and that's it. By raising the price up for like the full access, yearly or monthly, detracts them. And then after the 3 to 4 month period is up, then you put it publicly out there for everybody to enjoy because, hey, you've had enough time to not only build up finances and everything, but you've had enough time to basically send a message of, yeah, this is something financially that we know not everybody's a fan of, but guess what? It's doing its job. It's stopping this kind of like lunacy, if you will, for places like Kemono, and other outlets like the E-site, the HETAI, and the My HETAI comics. It's going to stop them, from, it's going to stop people from putting this stuff on there, almost regularly. So I think that's what needs to be done. But yeah, unfortunately for right now, and I know people might use my words against me, that's kind of the society we're in. But right now, that's just until something like that happens, that's the society we live in. That's just the society we live in, and we just got to deal with it. We really do. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Comment down below, live chat during the premiere, like the video, and if you're watching on YouTube, live chat in the premiere, like I said, comment down below, like the video, subscribe to the channel. And again, like I said, give me your thoughts. Do you agree, not agree with what I'm saying here? Give me your thoughts down below in the comments. And until then, I am out.